So we were talking about some of the bills you plan to introduce this session. Are there any other ones that would be interesting for people to know about?
I think there are two bills that I like to highlight that I'll be introducing. The one bill came to me from the Alzheimer's Association. So there's this intern that they have there. His name is Hayden. You know, he lost his parents through dementia, and it's truly
Both.
sad. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he has brought forth a bill to our office, and Senator Linda Coyne and I will be introducing it companionly. And what this bill would do would direct the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism to create a dementia-friendly business program. And this program would encourage and incentivize businesses to take the Alzheimer's a 1 hour training in Alzheimer's and dementia to make them more friendly. And when I talk about friendly, it means creating a more comfortable environment, a more patient staff that understands communication and accessibility for those facing Alzheimer's, and trying to eliminate the stigma that many Alzheimer's caregivers and people that are currently diagnosed with Alzheimer's face. Because I understand. It is really sad, and it's very difficult to go out there, and it's really uncomfortable at times. And I've heard too many stories of many people just not wanting to even go out or worrying that something's going to happen while they're outside. And for a business to create an inclusive environment for those that have Alzheimer's and their caregivers would go a long way, not just in economic stimulation because it's good business, but in just trying to destigmatize this and to have this discussion where people aren't looking down on people with Alzheimer's anymore.
Wow, that's interesting. I never thought people would even look down on people with
Yeah.
dementia. I honestly would think people would naturally be patient and caring. What can you maybe share a story of someone that experienced some discrimination on that or a bad experience?
I think it's not really discrimination, but probably an employee just not understanding that an individual does have Alzheimer's or dementia or showing early signs of dementia. Because, sometimes
When they're trying to
order food, sometimes they don't know, and it gets frustrating where someone can basically lose their temper or not have patience because they don't know what's happening. And by training workers and creating a dementia-friendly workforce, we can stop all that, and we can make people understand so that these businesses are able to put up a sticker on their window saying that they are a dementia-friendly business, and it will make it comfortable for, new patrons to come in and new customers for them.
Interesting. Okay, didn't know about that. And then you said you had another bill that you were pushing.
This is the very popular noise camera bill that I've been pushing. In 2023, Senator Moriwaki and I worked together to pass a pilot program to create a noise camera system that would crack down on illegally modified mufflers that run through all the streets of Waikīkī and downtown and all around Oahu, making noise. I didn't know how popular it was going to become, where our office has received many emails from Mililani to Hawaii Kai asking us if they could have it. And all I can tell is that, well, direct your comments to the Department of Transportation because they're the ones implementing that. But thank you so much for your support. I have a bill that would make the pilot program permanent and allow the DOT to start issuing tickets to individuals that have violated the illegal muffler and noise laws that we have.
Oh, interesting. So just remind us. So this was a pilot program that you introduced 2 years ago? Or
2 years ago. It's just been fully installed right now, and it's in its data collecting phase. And after the data collecting phase, they're going to see what is an appropriate noise level to set these cameras at to start issuing any kind of notices out there. But the bill would make this program permanent because it looks like it's going to be a success. It has been implemented in many other countries and municipalities and states, and many of the residents in those states love this program.
It makes sense, especially in the middle of the night, right?
Especially in the middle of the night. We got working families that have kids to want to wake up in the morning and be ready for their exam. We have families that have to go to work at 6 a.m. and they don't want to be up all night. And we have senior citizens that don't want, no one wants to be woken up at night. Do you want to be waking up at night? No, I don't want to be woken up
I used to live
at night.
in Waikīkī also, and oh gosh, I know.
So you know.
I know. It's and I'm a deep sleeper, so I can't right? And
Yeah.
I can't even imagine if you are a light sleeper to be
Yeah.
woken up all hours of the night with that kind of noise, you
All
know?
because someone wants
To show off their
their
system.
vroom vrooms.
And why is it Waikīkī? I do. It's
Why
in
is it
other
always
parts.
Waikīkī?
There's other parts.
I think it's mostly a lot of it's Waikīkī or downtown area because the noise reverberates off the skyscrapers, so it's louder if you're living on a higher floor.
It makes sense because if
Yeah.
you're doing it like in Mililani or something, I guess I don't know. There's still residents there too,
There's
though.
still residents, and that's why
Yeah.
we got someone from Mililani that asked us if the noise cameras are going to come to their neighborhood.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of excitement about this.
about that. Okay.
At the same time, I've had a colleague that asked me, he doesn't represent downtown Honolulu, but he represents an area of the neighbor island. He didn't understand what this bill was trying to accomplish at first.
Oh, the
Until-
neighbor islands. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
Until he had to stay in town for session and he heard all this and he's like, now I get it.
Now he gets it. But
now
then,
I get why
but
you're
then
pushing this so hard.
you bring a good point, though. What about folks on the neighbor islands that they're in rural areas that it won't affect residents? I guess for the enjoyment of those residents, I don't know.
Yeah.
The population that are benefiting versus the population that it's hurting. We
Yeah.
can argue that, but I don't know.
Well, that's why these noise cameras are only going in areas that have requested it, where there is like a high number of noise complaints, or in a high amount of neighbors and residents that are asking for it. It's not going to go on some empty road. It's not going to go on every road. But it's important to have it because we talk about what our neighbors want and what government should do and the state should do to help our neighbors, and that's making it more comfortable to live. And part of that comfortability means a good night's rest and not being woken up because someone wants to just vroom vroom down the road and make a lot of noise.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, and we were talking about the challenge of income generation during this coming year, right? Because of the federal cuts and because of the tax breaks that are continuing to be enacted. Is there any other way to reduce spending on the state's end? I don't know. Are there other ways that you're finding ways to generate income and cut spending?
Yeah, we're looking at all kinds of programs that we can consolidate with other areas or other departments or other programs to cut down on expenses. We're also looking at closing some tax loopholes. One tax loophole that was brought to my attention, and I'll be introducing it, and I would love to have the discussion on it, would be to close the tax loophole on many rental car companies that are currently paying at a discounted wholesale GET tax license right now. So they'll be paying full price afterwards, the full price of a GET license, GET tax that everyone else.
So they get a tax break, is what you're saying.
They get a tax break right now through this tax loophole. And I want to hear the discussion. They're going to have their day at the legislature where they can defend this exemption. And we'll also hear from the advocates that are advocating for us to close this loophole too.
How much potential income can be generated should that, go through or close the loophole?
I don't have the number off the top of my head right now, but what I was told, it was going to be substantial. And I think that it's worth a legislative hearing and a discussion.
Yeah, at this point, anything goes,
Anything
right?
goes,
It sounds
yeah.
like any way to kind of generate income to keep our social safety nets going and everything.
And I also understand where a lot of people are coming from because I don't want my taxes going up, right? No one wants their taxes going up.
Especially when they, touted this big break.
Tax break.
Yeah.
And, one thing that I want to do is continue to provide tax credits for research to go into other industries because, like I said, if we are able to build the economy up and to generate a lot of economic stimulation, that's going to generate a lot of revenue for us as well. So
And
we
that's
just
the
about
goal.
us creating that environment so that there is a strong economy.
Yeah, and that's definitely what we need this year, right? So as we wrap up our discussion, Representative, let's talk about what you hope to accomplish by the end of the session and just maybe a call to action by folks that may be listening and how we can, survive a tough year as we're often talking about.
I think at the legislative session, I tell everyone this is that I hope that we continue to stay afloat. This federal administration is very unpredictable, and I think both sides will recognize that how unpredictable it is. So we're constantly changing our priorities, moving things around, shifting our focus. And I expect that all throughout the legislative session and beyond the legislative session. So at the end of this legislative session, I hope that we can pass some meaningful bills in housing, economic security, diversification, cost of living, public safety, so that we, you know, like I said, can just stay afloat because the onslaught of federal cuts is really hurting us. It is hurting a lot of our nonprofits. Waikīkī Community Center received a grant this past, I think it was one. It was we've created a grant program. We dispersed money to many nonprofits that have faced federal cuts, and Waikīkī Community Center does a lot of good work with many of our seniors that are facing housing insecurity. They serve a lot of Alice families by providing a quality education for their kids there, and they face these cuts as well. So if you think they face cuts, many other organizations have faced cuts, and it's all about trying to stay afloat, at least throughout this year. We don't know what's in store for next year, but we're already thinking about that as well.
Yeah, and that's why we're talking about reducing spending. We're talking about ways to generate revenue. And we're going to be counting on you guys over at the legislature to come up with some innovative solutions.
We'll
so
try.
good luck.
Thank you.
Representative Adrian Tam with us, joining us here on Hawaii News Now. And thank you again.
Thanks
And
for having me.
wishing all of our legislature good luck on getting those solutions done. And I'm Annalisa Burgos. You're watching Hawaii News Now.